Former President Trump slamming the Biden Justice Department after yesterday's unannounced FBI raid on his Florida home. Federal agents going through everything, including breaking into one of his safes. The White House saying it had no prior knowledge of the order. Joining me now, Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody. Attorney General Moody, with the raid taking place on Florida property, were you notified of this raid at all?
No, and that's not uncommon. Of course, you know, you have federal, statewide cases, or federal cases and state cases, so that's not uncommon. What is uncommon, I can tell you as a former federal prosecutor, is a raid by dozens of FBI agents over what we hear presumably is a document dispute. And I can tell you that is not common in these types of investigations, and I'm urging, for the sake of the independence and integrity of our law enforcement institutions, that Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray come out very soon and start being transparent with Americans. Why this was necessary, why this had to be done in a raid fashion as opposed through subpoenas. I mean, why a search warrant? I mean, these are very important issues, and I think this needs to be done immediately.
Well, President Trump's been the target of a partisan witch hunt in the past, so why not another one? Attorney General, I want to ask you this. So the search is, because it's as you said, it's a document dispute related to the National Archives. The search is said to be separate from the January 6th investigation, but is it? And I just raised this question of any documents that the FBI gathered, took with them. It seems, based on our initial reporting, that it was not a targeted search, but rather a get whatever you can search, and which wouldn't be laid out in the search warrant, I don't think. But could they have collected things that could be used in justice for the January 6th investigation?
Well, you know, let's be clear. You know, we're saying document disputes because that's the information that has been put forth through news sources. But the way this works is law enforcement, when they need to go in, they will complete an affidavit. Somebody has to attest that all of the information contained therein is true. It will set out specifically the charges in which they believe there is evidence at a specific location that can prove those charges. They have to go before a neutral magistrate, which has to sign off on that. A copy of that search warrant will be left, but always the affidavit isn't always left. So right now, you have a lot of people talking, and we don't know. And sometimes this affidavit is sealed before other proceedings in the case, which is why I go back to, in order to quell this uprising of this is a political in nature, you know, you have to have some sort of credibility with this law enforcement institution, the FBI. They must come out and release this to be transparent, discuss exactly why this type of action was taken when this could have been done through subpoenas. You know, federal prosecutors build cases all the time, and they do so through subpoenas and working with lawyers. You saw that in the matter of Hillary Clinton. So it's very important for the future of this country, for the trust of Americans in our institutions and in their government, the government that is presumably and is supposed to be we the people, that they come out immediately and have these honest conversations with the American public.
Well, if there was any trust and credibility left, I think a lot of Americans are watching it spiral down the drain in terms of justice and FBI when the Democrats are in charge. Todd Pyro, jump in here real quick.
AG Moody, great to talk to you as always. To that last point that you made, in your experience as a law enforcement officer, have you ever authorized a raid like the one we saw involving Donald J. Trump, where there were clearly no exigent circumstances along the lines of the suspect could flee, the suspect is violent, the suspect is a problem, especially in this case where Donald J. Trump was hundreds of miles away in New York City?
You know, look, as a federal prosecutor, there are many times where I've worked with law enforcement to do search warrants. You know, I don't believe anybody in Mar-a-Lago was going to start flushing fentanyl down the toilet. Like, think about when we use these kinds of search warrants, we're afraid that those in the residence or in the location are going to destroy as evidence. I think it's very uncommon when you're going to do this in a document dispute, if that's what this is. What I would like to see is for someone to talk about, even if they don't come out and give us exactly what they're doing, exactly what's in the affidavit, exactly the charges, if they need that for some reason for the integrity of the investigation, at least come out and say, why was this the procedure used? Why were these tactics used? Why did we need dozens of FBI agents at Mar-a-Lago? There are a lot of questions here, and we need to start being upfront with the American public.
To your point, AG Moody, as we go to break, and as I thank you, they're reporting that these investigations are top secret, so you won't get the full picture anytime soon. That was in Axios. And Byron York points out secrecy is exactly what is wrong with this. Secrecy allowed wild media speculation in the Trump-Russia matter. As the target, Trump is entitled to a copy of the warrant and the underlying affidavit, and he should make them public immediately today. Exactly to your point. Ashley Moody, Attorney General, thank you so much for being here. Go ahead.
Great to be with you, Dagrin.
Thank you so much.
I was just going to say, you are absolutely right. And this was done in South Florida, where folks are fearful of this. They've fled Venezuela. They've fled Cuba because of these types of actions. We need transparency. We've got to do away with the secrecy for the sake of our country.
And with tens of billions of dollars going to the IRS and 85,000 new IRS agents getting ready to be hired, every American should be afraid of the political weaponization of our agencies. Thank you, Ashley Moody. We'll be right back.